Greetings, old school magic players, and welcome to the Four Horsemen.
Welcome, old school magic players, to the Four Horsemen. Today, myself and the Chadster are going to be covering a Tournament 9 quarterfinals match between Peter Soltez and... Who's he playing in this one, Chad? Roger?
Yeah, he's playing Roger. That's right.
He's playing Roger. This was an interesting match to watch. Yeah. Let's take a look at these guys' deck photos and see what we're going to be watching.
All right, here's Peter's deck.
Can you share your screen with me, Chad?
Oh, yeah, I need to share it back on.
All right. So this is a pretty common pairing that we saw. Well, this is Peter's deck, so we've seen a lot of Peter's deck.
Yeah.
Peter has done really well, and so there's a lot of matches where you'll get to see this deck play out. This deck's a pretty innovative, interesting deck. Has a lot of kind of combo things going on in it. You've got the Sinbad, Sylvan Library, of course, that a lot of people are playing in this tournament. Also, he's making really good use of Diamond Valley with the Rook Eggs and the Reincarnations and the Triskelions. This has proven to be a really solid and hard to beat deck.
Yeah, it really is. And the tricky tricks that this deck has, and like Peter says, the synergies that he has going on with some of the interactions are extremely strong. The Reincarnation can bring back a Rook Egg. You know, if your Rook Egg dies, you're going to get that Rook token at the end of turn, so you can let it die during combat or whatever, and then you can reincarnate it and get the Rook Egg itself back again. And then when that Rook Egg dies, you'll have another 4/4 flyer again. So it's really strong with Rook Egg, but it's also got the Triskelion interactions. So you can, basically play Triskelion, fire off your 3 damage, and you can sack your Triskelion to Diamond Valley, and then I think you can reincarnate it, right, if it's sacrificed.
Yeah, you can play that on it, play the Reincarnation on it, and then sacrifice it to the Diamond Valley. You get your token, then you also get your egg back. It's pretty solid.
Right, and then he's got the Wailuli Wolves along with the Old Man of the Sea. So if he happens to come up against, another, say for example, another deck with Rook Eggs, he could actually pump, if he's got a couple Wailuli Wolves out, he can pump his old man's power by 2, and he can take their Rook Egg token, because it's a power of 4. And then, of course, everybody in this tournament, well, anybody that was running green, blue, was running Sylvan Library Sinbad, the Sylvan Sinbad combo, which is basically like, drawing an extra card every turn, because you're putting your lands on top and drawing them with the Sinbad. And
it's very powerful.
Yeah, and then the last combo is, he's got a couple Pendlehavens, so for his 1/1s like Sinbad and Wailuli, and even the 1/1 Triskelions, he can still have 2/3s for those with his Pendlehavens. And then he's got Dance of Many, and that can be used to copy the Rook tokens. It could be used to copy, your opponent's creatures if they've got, Juzum or something big, and it can be used to copy your Triskelions. So a lot of interactions, and of course ever-present mana drain. Plus he's got the Jaloom tomes that allow him to manipulate even more between the Sylvan Sinbad combo. So much going on. Really, really powerful deck. Super great build. All right, here's Roger's deck. I just want to real quickly note that Roger won our Four Horsemen Tournament 9 Spice Build Award. And we actually shipped him the special prize that is the Magic the Gathering reuniting the pioneering artists of Magic's 20th anniversary. This was done by just for Myers Force and dedicated to Quentin Hoover, and it has all new art pictures for the old school classic art that we all love. And we sent him that and a poster by Ken Meyer Jr. of the Arabian Nights poker game as the Spice Awards. He should be getting those pretty soon. And John, what do you think about Roger's deck?
Roger's deck is really cool. I'm always really happy every time I see somebody play black. We don't see a lot of black get played in this league. And I love to see people try to make it work and to do interesting, little things with it. I love Fallen Angel. That's a card that I played as a kid a lot and really enjoy both the art and the card itself. And this is neat. I like it. He's got a little bit of ramp. He's got a copy of Worms of the Earth in his deck. He's got a copy of Serpent Generator in his deck. Like, this is pretty fun stuff.
Yeah. And, a lot of these lands have been a problem. Lands like Diamond Valley, lands like, there's still Maze of Ith. There's, as a one of, deserts can be a problem. And, he's got blights in here to help deal with some of these challenging lands. I thought that was really creative. We've seen in some of the early builds where I was messing around with like a Blight Fisher, land destruction deck. He's got a little bit of that going on here. And this is a Halloween themed deck because this tournament 9 was run basically through the Halloween and into our Thanksgiving holiday here. And so you'll see that like his deck is really a ghouls, witches, and Halloween haunted theme, from the Sisters of the Flame to the Skull of Orm to Lady Orca, and who's the creepy wizard up on the left? I always forget that guy's name.
Boris Devilborn or Devil Boon. He makes tokens. I'm gonna have to make a token for that guy.
Oh yeah, that'd be a great token for him, right? We could make something. Maybe I could do some art for it, something special.
Yeah.
And then he's got Haunting Winds, he's got Blood Moon, Inquisition. All of the art and all of the cards are creepy, Halloweeny. And so even though this is not what we would say is like a super aggro spike build, it's actually still got a lot of great stuff. Ashes to Ashes, Pyrotechnics, Immolations. And John, what do you notice over there in the right-hand corner for one of his sideboard cards?
Well, it's interesting because you were just talking about this card the other day.
That's right.
Magnetic Mountain, right?
That's right.
And we might see that card get a little bit more play in our next tournament.
That's right.
We have Pauper Doubleton coming up for tournament 10. And that card might be a spicy little surprise in Pauper Doubleton because red-blue seems to be the dominant build. So basically Magnetic Mountain paralyzes all blue creatures. It makes them not untap during the untap step, and then the controller has to pay 4 colorless to untap them. So that's pretty cool. I like to see him playing that.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, Serpent Generator, the Kumbaj Witches are actually super strong. They're excellent early blockers if they've got a factory or an elf of Deep Shadow or Scavenger Folk or something. You just can't get through. And they can take out any 1/1 or deal 1 damage.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of Scavenger Folk, a lot of elves of the Deep Shadow, lots of Sinbads, and that takes care of all of those. It just picks them all off.
Yeah. Now, Roger went very heavy anti-artifact, running 4 detonates. So he's not having anybody running Fellwar stones. Any of your Fellwar stones are going to get blown up. and that aligns with the blights and the fisher. You know, he's got a strip mine as he should, but he can also get the blights back, and he can get back any other enchantments like the worms of the earth. He can get that back with the skull of Orm, which is very kind of sneaky and crafty. You know, graveyard manipulation with that skull of Orm. And he can gain life. He can sack creatures, so he could sack his extra stuff or extra snakes if he gets to producing them, gain life. And then he's also got a Hell's Caretaker. Have you ever run Hell's Caretaker, John?
I absolutely have. He's very cool. In fact, well, I don't know if this will work. Yeah, here is my camera showing. Oh, that's the wrong camera. Let me switch this real quick. Anyway, because they're creature enchantments, so he can repeat that those removal spells. And just keep getting them back, using them again. Check out this sweet Hell's Caretaker that a friend made for me. Okay. Very nice.
Hold on a sec. I gotta zoom in on that. Let's go back.
Oh, let me turn it on so you can see it. Yeah, very cool.
Cool. Pentagram and everything. Upside down pentagram.
Ready to go, ready to rock. Get some guys out of the graveyard.
Yeah, so the Hell's Caretaker can get guys back out of the graveyard. Super cool stuff.
Well, you know what's cool too? He's got the Serpent Generator, right? So and Boris.
Yeah.
So he can make a token and then just sack the token to get a creature back.
Right.
That seems really efficient. I like it a lot.
Yeah, that's the innovation here, right? He can sack these 1/1 tokens and get back whatever he wants. And he can sack it again and gain life. So he could kind of recycle stuff. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think with some tweaking, this deck could maybe give some of the other decks a run for their money.
Oh, and the Blight is also an enchantment, so he can blow up lands and then just keep recurring that with the Skull of Orm as well.
That's right.
So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
And then up in his sideboard, he's running the active volcanoes, blood moons. He's got Inquisition. Nobody's really running white, but it's there mainly because it fits the theme, you know, the creepy, scary Halloween theme. And he's got one Inferno and a Fisher and that Magnetic Mountain along with the Haunting Winds. And what is this card below the Haunting Winds? Is that the Worms of the Earth? No. Worms of the Earth is in his deck. What is this one by the Haunting Winds in the upper left there?
Where Haunting Winds at? Upper left. Oh, that's what is it?
It looks like it's a Legends card.
Yeah, is that like a
oh, is that wall? Is that the Wall of Putrid Flesh?
Wall of Putrid Flesh.
That's what it is. Rotting flesh. The Rotting Flesh Wall. Yeah, so also he's running Hammerheim, so he can, you know, remove Landwalk, and he's running Urborg, which, you know, makes a lot of sense to be running those. And he's running Deserts. So between the Combage Witches and his Deserts, he should be able to, you know, do some pinging here and there.
Right.
And then the Immolations are really good. Those can also be returned to his hand because those are also enchantments. So think about that.
Yeah. Very cool. Repeatable removal.
Yeah.
Not something that we have a lot of in this format.
Yeah. Super innovative. Okay, so let's toggle over to our match. So I'm going to switch over to the player here. And then for you, John, I'm going to share the player video. All right. Can you see that okay, John?
I can see it.
Awesome.
There's Peter's cool Richard Kane Ferguson mat. Those are pretty new mats that were offered up on the Artist website earlier this year. I thought about buying one. I've just got so many mats, but they're very cool.
All right, I've sped this up a little bit for us. Roger is showing Peter his duelist counter, and it's funny because Peter now has 6 of those. he's recently.
I just saw his post this morning. Yeah, maybe I'll message him and get the red one from him. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Those things are really cool. They're super nostalgic. They're tricky to go over 20 life, but they're so original. It looks like Roger might be taking a mulligan here. Or is he doing his normal draw?
I believe he took a mulligan.
Yeah, looks like it.
If I remember correctly. We've seen a lot of mulligans in this tournament, which is probably good. You know, you don't want to just settle. You want to aggressively get something useful early on. But it seems like it's been a higher percentage than I've seen in other tournaments.
Yeah, it has.
All right, so they both open up with a bit of land. I wouldn't be surprised if Peter drops either a Sylvan or a Sinbad. There's a Sinbad. He's playing 4 of each, so he definitely wants to get those cards down early. And it gets immolated right away. Go Roger.
Yep. Yeah, it's 1 red, and it's +2, -2, and boom. You know, all those little weenie guys are not going to stand a chance. So
I mean, it kills most of the stuff that people would bolt on turn 1 or 2 anyway, or chain lightning.
Yeah.
So like, it's really kind of nice. It's a versatile little card, and occasionally you can use it to pump your own guy,
right,
you know, without killing it, and attack for extra damage. It's a card that I really like.
Yeah.
I'm carrying a copy in our next tournament, our Singleton tournament.
Yeah.
Or Doubleton now, but I think I'm only playing 1.
It's a common, and it's, you know, it's something that all of us ran when we were kids, you know, sidewalk magic and all that. So it's very retro, old school for sure. Looks like Roger's got a mana problem. You know, I've noticed this with Roger a lot. We've talked about this in some of our practice games and some of our other matches where, you know, he's very aggressive on his mana curve, and he often finds himself short on mana. I mean, look at Peter. I mean, I know he's got Sylvan Library, but he's got 5 lands to Roger, who's Blackblade here, who's just now hitting 3. It's really important, we have seen, to run 23, 24, maybe even 25 lands if you're running Maze of Ith or Diamond Valley, things that don't tap for mana, because there's just not much mana ramp beyond the Elves and the Fel Wars. So you really got to be regimented and disciplined about your mana. But here he's playing the Sisters of the Flame, and they can tap for red. But Peter is mana draining that. Mana draining the Sisters of the Flame. And this is queuing up Peter. He's probably going to drop a Triskelion or something, right? Because why would he care?
These games turn around so fast, right? Because not only was Roger already on the back foot, you know, missing a land drop, but now gets his Sisters drained. Peter plays a big dude, and he's already ahead. Well, it's only a Rook Egg, so that's less threatening than if he had a Triskelion, but still.
But there's the Diamond Valley, though.
There's the Diamond Valley, so he can turn it into a token immediately.
Yeah. I see Max is in watching. He's a viewer in this game, so he was checking out the action, huh?
Yeah. We had a lot of spectating going on during these matches. People seem to be excited for this tournament. I was happy for that. Always happy to have spectators.
Yeah. And mana drain is just so brutal for these reasons. Wow. So with that Rook token out, Roger is just scooping and going straight to sideboard. Damn. That was rough. And
such a fast game. Such a bummer, really. I mean, you know, like he has this kind of fun deck, and he did well enough to get to the quarterfinals, and then like it's like, oh, good, game 1's 2 minutes long.
Yeah, but I also
we'll see how game 2 goes.
I also think that, you know, I've been tempted to do this many times when I'm frustrated and mana screwed. Like, it's very tempting to just want to throw it in and move to the next game. But, you know, um, looking at Roger's deck, let's just switch back over here to it real quick. You know, Roger has,
I don't ever swoop unless it's truly inevitable.
yeah, he has
I like to play it out.
He has 2 Ashes to Ashes. He has 3 Pyrotechnics. You know, he has Immolation, and he has Kumbaj Witches. He also has Sorceress Queen, and he has a Maze of Ith. So there are many ways that he could top deck something. Yeah, he might take 4 damage, but you know, if he came into an Ashes to Ashes, he could Ashes that Rook token and get right around it. He was stuck on 3 mana, so I think he was thinking, well, I've got no way out. But he did have Ashes to Ashes as a top deck, as well as Sorceress Queen and Maze of Ith. So there were at least 3, 4, 5, 6 outs for him to top deck an answer, and he just didn't want to, you know, play it out. Okay, so let me switch back to the game. Okay, looks like they're looking up something. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. I'm going to skip ahead here. What's Peter doing? Oh, they're looking at each other's deck pictures. That's what's going on. Since we share the deck pictures as we move into top 8 and quarterfinals, because everybody talks about their decks, and this is a long-standing tradition. So, you know, it's very smart to have the deck photos published, which I always try and do it as we move to quarterfinals. And then, you know, people share them in the group chat as well. And then I get them up on the Facebook page and our website. And that way everyone has them to reference. It's very handy. It's like a necessary thing to do when you're sideboarding here. Wow, Peter is taking his time. And he's sideboarding quite a bit. Look at this. Now, people do this on camera very often. And, you know, you can kind of get an idea of how much your opponent is sideboarding against you, which gives them extra information you might not want to freely share if you're very spiky.
I mean, a thing you can do that I've seen people at in-person tournaments do is just shuffle their whole sideboard into their deck and then pull cards out.
Yeah.
So, like, you don't know what they left in and what they took out. But I just don't think we're that... I mean, serious is the wrong word, but, you know, these are some pretty gentlemanly, fun games of Magic. Like, I don't really care if my opponent knows that I sideboarded 4 cards or not, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so do they both take mulligans here?
They both took a mulligan, yeah.
And Roger mulliganed in the first game, right?
Yep, that's right. Yeah, lots of mulligans in this tournament for whatever reason. I felt like Peter has been mulliganing really aggressively just to get good hands, but he has said that he's just drawing poorly, you know? Like last night, we commentated on another match, and he drew no lands, and then he drew 1 land, and ended up going down to 5 the first game. You know, it's tough.
Yeah.
All right, so they both got some lands. That's good. Is that a desert that Roger just put down?
Roger has a desert and a swamp and a mountain. Yeah, so the desert can help as long as As long as Peter doesn't have his Pendlehaven. So now Roger needs his double red so he can play his Sisters of the Flame. He does have quite a few double casting cost cards, you know, between the double black for Sorcerer's Queen, the double black for Kumbaj Witches, double black for Fallen Angel, double black for Ashes to Ashes. All those cards cost double. And then you've got double red on Sisters of the Flame. And so yeah, he's gonna, if he doesn't have two swamps in play, it's gonna really limit what he can play in black, because a lot of his black stuff is double. And he needs double red to get his Sisters of the Flames to rampant. So I guarantee you he's got stuff in his hand that he just can't play for the double casting cost. Meanwhile, Peter's already up to...
it's tough.
Yeah, Peter's up to 5 lands again, but again, he is got Sylvan, so he's probably able to dig for those lands. And here comes the formidable Sinbad. All right, and looks like he's doing a immolation. Is that on the Sinbad? No, he's drawing with the Sinbad, and he guess he discarded a card. Yeah, so it's very clear to me that Roger's deck could use more mana. He's got... I don't see his exact land count because he's got his swamps and his mountains piled up. So there's no way for me to tell how many lands are in Roger's deck based on his deck picture. Okay, so he's got to 4 mana now and plays Hell's Caretaker. But, you know, meanwhile, Peter's got Old Man of the Sea, so he can steal the Hell's Caretaker, right?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a super great drop. I don't know if there's a reason behind it, if he has some other kind of trick. But it doesn't seem super good. Because Peter's just going to steal it immediately.
So it looks like Roger was dropping. Looks like he discarded the Lady Orca, the big legend. And so maybe he's thinking if he could just get some mana, he can get her back with the Hell's Caretaker or whatever. But yeah, he's not going to be able to tap the Hell's Caretaker because it has Summoning Sickness, and Peter can just steal it.
Yep.
But it does keep the old man from attacking. I mean, you know, Roger hasn't taken any damage yet. Peter's taken a bit from the City of Brass and stuff, right?
Yeah, it's not looking good, though. I mean, Peter's got all this stuff out.
Yeah,
Roger's got nothing.
Yeah, he's got everything lined up. He's got his Sylvan Sinbad going. He's got a factory. He's got a Pendlehaven. He's got Old Man, and now he's got Serendipity Freet.
He's got a factory out. I mean, it just seems like it's going to be really hard to come back. So this Pyrotechnics is pretty good. Does it get mana drains?
Well, first, in response, Peter is Pendlehaving his Sinbad. So now the Sinbad is a 2/3, and the Pyrotechnics can only deal 4. So he deals the 3 to the... Looks like he's dealing 3 to Old Man.
That kind of sucks. So 1-for-1 with Pyrotechnics feels really bad.
Right.
You know, in fact, if I was going to 1-for-1 with it, I probably would have just killed the Ifrit instead.
Right. But he does get his Hell's Caretaker back here. And the Serendipity Freet hits. I'm kind of surprised that Peter didn't go to attack with his factory there, but instead he elected to use Triskelion and then ping the Hell's Caretaker with one of the Triskelion arms. Another Pyrotechnics. And this time... Okay, so he's shooting Roger for 2. And so he Pyrotechnics the Triskelion and the Sinbad.
Yes.
But now he's going to be taking that damage from the Serendip Efreet. And Peter should be taking a damage here. He should be at 9 on his upkeep. So Peter's actually forgetting to take his upkeep damage from the Efreet. He should be at 9. And he hits in for 5. Okay. And Roger plays Life Chisel, but it's really not great because he doesn't have any creatures, and that's game. Man, that was just a total blowout. Yeah, so with all the conversations we've had with Brian Weissman, we have really seen that your mana base is so important. Let me go back and share his deck. If you don't have mana, you can't play your shit. That's like a Brian Weissman straight up quote right there. So if you look at his mana, I can't see, John, how many mountains and swamps he has. But
yeah, we'd have to do some math because they're kind of stacked up. But yeah, perhaps he's a little bit short.
Yeah, I think he's way short. And he's got, it looks like he's probably got 4 deserts. I can see 3, but it might be 4. If you've got 4 deserts and a strip mine, that's 5 colorless mana, and you might randomly get, a strip and a desert early on. And when all your heavy hitters that make your deck work cost double black, putting in that colorless land is a huge risk.
Yeah, I don't know. Counting his cards, it seems like he must have a reasonable amount of land in there. 6, 7. That black mana battery is cool. He just played it for the art, I imagine.
Yeah, he just played it for the art. Those cards are not really great. Yeah, every card in this deck is here for the artwork on the card, and that's why Roger won the Spice Award. It's this is obviously, as I said earlier, this is not a cutting edge spike. I'm going to win the tournament deck. This is I
only count 35 cards that don't add. Like, I'm counting Maze of Ith in there too because it doesn't add mana.
Right.
So he must have 25 lands. I mean, 25 seems like enough.
25. One of them is a Maze of Ith. Oh, you say you did not.
Well, I counted the Maze of Ith in the non-land pile.
If he's running
mana, yeah.
If he's running 25 lands and then one
also has Sisters and also has Black Mana Battery, so I think he just got unlucky.
Yeah, but Black Mana Battery costs like 4 to cast. It doesn't.
Yeah. But it does add mana.
Yeah. What I would have done is I know what's ideal here between Desert and Kumbaj Witches and dealing the multi damage, but I would say ditch the Black Mana Battery and ditch the snakes and put in some Felwar Stones, and then I would cut down on those colorless mana, like maybe go to 2 deserts and make sure you've got double, a lot of swamps so you can have double black. Audrey's here trying to bang on the door. Anyway, so that's unfortunate. We really like Roger's Spice build, and Peter's deck is just so powerful and it's got so many good interactions. So from Peter and Roger, Peter is going to proceed to the semifinals, and I think that's going to do it for us today, right, John?
I think that's it.
Okay, well, we'll see you guys next time. We've got all the quarterfinals matches covered, and we'll move into the semifinals next. Looking forward to everyone joining us then. We'll sign off.
Catch you next time.
Okay, see you later, John.
See ya.
Greetings, old school magic players, and welcome to the the Four Horsemen.